are going to make a new character today in the Kawaii style. It is going to be a cupcake. And just like the typical Kawaii style, it has cute little eyes and is cute overall. We'll need our viewfinder and our grid assist. Go ahead and open up your sketchbook. And hopefully you have space next to your toast. We can lay down the grid assist, hold on to it, go ahead and trace that grid assist using light pressure and your HB or B pencil. Extend the grid lines out in all directions. This will help us make a perfect replica of our viewfinder grid. You can put your grid assist away. Now you can use your grid finder and the straight edge to connect those tick marks so that you make your own grid on your drawing paper. Excellent. Now we are going to go ahead and put we're going to be doing this cupcake. So I'll zoom in so that you can see that more easily. And lay down the viewfinder and tape it down. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and break up each of our boxes using little tick marks to divide from corner to corner in half, from corner to corner. And then we can run this down. Try to keep those right in half so that we are further dividing our grid into kind of like a subgrid. The same thing, corner to corner, divide it in half, run that across. Corner to corner, divide that in half, go across. And I think I might reposition this so that it is just right exactly next to. Here we go. That's better. Just easier if they're exactly side by side and not shifted up or down. Okay, let's go ahead and number our boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Great. So we're going to go ahead and start in the top left. Normally, I start in the top left box. It kind of seems like maybe I want to start where the cupcake icing is first. So I'm going to kind of shift my rule a little bit. I'm going to start in the 7 box, right in this corner, so that I can follow this shape around and finish my profile in the 7 box. So make sure, it always gets tricky if you don't start in the top left. It's just easy. If you start down someplace else, then make sure that you're starting on your paper in the same box that is the 7 box where your cupcake is. And let's find where the icing crosses our grid. So here's the bottom left corner and the tick mark, and it's halfway in between, maybe more like a third of the way across. So a third of the way, that's where our icing is going to be, or frosting. It's probably frosting. Do you say icing or frosting? Anyway, and then it's going to come up here and it's going to do this big kind of curve, and then it's going to make another curve. This is tricky, no doubt. Okay, we're going to try it. So where does the profile line cross the grid going into the number 1 from the number 4 box? It's just to the right of the tick mark. So just to the right of the tick mark. So I can see this line comes down and then hooks around. So it comes down and then it hooks around. I totally should have started on the easy shape first. Doesn't matter. We're in it now. We're in it together. Okay, so then we're going to see where we're continuing the profile line up into the 1 box. We're going to see where it crosses from the 1 into the 2. And I can see that that profile line is going to cross between the bottom right-hand corner and the tick mark. So between the bottom right-hand corner and the tick mark is here. So I'm going to go down and across because I'm kind of copying this line. Now I'm going to see in the 2 box where it comes over. It does some funkadelic things over here, and then it comes and it crosses, actually kind of crosses just below the tick mark going into the 3. So, and I can see it's a complicated shape. I'm going to see if I can kind of, yep, that was close, but not amazing. So I'm going to kind of make some adjustments. It's not about getting it right the first time. And then maybe I'll erase the line that I know is off. So that's pretty close. Maybe this is a little bit hookier up there. That's better. So just keep working that line. Once you know where it starts and stops, you can rework the line. So now this is going to hook up and over, and it's going to cross between the 3 and the 6, just to the left of the tick mark. It's going to come down into the 6 box. It's going to hook around, and let's see where it's going to cross the grid line between the 6 and the 9. It's going to cross between the tick and the corner. So between the tick and the corner, it's going to cross in here, and I'm going to see if I can make it something like that. Shoo, that was not easy. Excuse me. Okay, while I'm here, I think I'm going to go ahead and put in this line. I know where it starts, and I know where it stops. And I know that it comes up and it touches the tick mark between my 3 and my 8 box. So I'm just going to put that line in there. Just kind of a nice gentle curve. Now I can come down, starting back at my 7, following this line. Where does it hit my grid? It hits it between the tick mark and the corner, so between the tick mark and the corner. And then it comes into my number 10 box. It curves, and where does it hit my grid between my 10 and 11 box? Halfway between the corner, the top right corner, and the tick mark. Here's my top right corner, the tick mark. This is halfway. Now I know it's going to kind of have a gentle little curve down here. And if I was right, then it crosses the 11 between the top right corner and the tick, between the top right corner and the tick, and it did. Then it extends into the 12 and angles up. It crosses from the 12 into the 9 box between the corner and the tick mark, between the corner and the tick mark. And then it comes up. Perfect. We can go ahead and get these lines in here. And I can see that this line is going to, this is all part of the frosting. It's going to curve down and touch the bottom of my 2 grid and then back up into the corner. So from corner to corner, and it's going to just touch the bottom of that tick mark. This frosting swirl, I'm going to start at the corner. I'm going to end at this little corner. And where's it crossing? Let's see. It crosses from the 6 into the 5, just above the tick mark. There. It crosses from the 5 into the 4, halfway between the tick and the corner. So now I can, it's like connecting the dots. It's a lot easier if you know, and it's a lot more accurate if you put little dots or tick marks where you know that you're going to be crossing the grid. All right, now we can look at our eyes. It looks like the top of the eye is right at the tick mark in the 7 box on the right hand side. So that's the top of the eye. And where does it come down? Almost down to the corner of that 7. So we're going to give ourselves a nice circle. Now, it's hard for me to make a perfect circle the first time, so I just keep drawing nice and slowly and lightly until I end up with a lot of lines that aren't circles, like that one there, but that's okay. I can pick the best line to ink over, and then I can erase the lines that aren't so good. The other eye is on this side. It crosses the grid line just at the tick mark. It is just a little bit more, it looks like, in the 9 box, crossing the tick at the 8-9 grid, just up from the bottom. I'm going to give myself the little highlights. This has double highlights. Ooh, that's very fancy. Little mouth, and the bottom of the mouth is just below, just into the 11 box, and it comes up. And the cheeks, it's hard to see over here, but it is there. This one's easier to see. It actually is partly underneath that eye. Starts right at the middle of the bottom of the eye. Now we can put in the sprinkles, and I'm going to go ahead and make it as accurate as possible. So I'm going to start up here in the top swirl. It has 3 sprinkles, one that's angled this way, one that's angled this way, one that's angled this way, one that crosses over my grid lines, one that's floating in the 6 box, some that are in the 5, one that crosses over between my 4 and my 5, and one that's floating in my 4. Come down to this swirl. Over here in my 4 box, I've got one that's floating, another one that's floating in this direction, one that's floating in this direction, one that crosses over, one that is right up next to in my my 5 box, almost next to the grid. Trying to make these as similar as possible. Okay. Now it does have these lines that are coming down here. And one thing that I realize is that the lines are radial or splayed lines. It also has this like shadow line, but I think I could do that better with colored pencil. So I'm going to come in here and try to make these lines. I'm actually looking at these lines to see how they're spaced. Trying to get them angled as much as I can, using the grid. Probably should have started in the middle first, but I didn't. Okay, awesome. I'm going to take my medium pen. I'm going to practice my brush tip, light lines, heavy lines, light lines, heavy lines, practicing with my pressure. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my profile line. I'm doing press, lift. I'm lifting a little at the corners. Press, lift, press, lift, and then press, heavy, press, press. I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes using my medium, making those highlights really big because they're going to get smaller when I color them in. I'm going to try to talk myself into going slow. I always get excited to see what it's going to look like. And then my circles end up not being circles when I rush. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to switch pens and use my small for the rest of the details. I'm going to use a little bit of pressure here. Like so. Not very much pressure at all on these little sprinkles. Sometimes you call them jimmies. Nice and slow. There we go. There we go. And the little the little cheek circles, the little blush marks, his little mouth, and then these are really thin. This is like the cupcake, what do you call it? Paper? Go slow, go slow. Those lines are getting not quite as straight as I would like. Okay. Great job. Take your eraser and get rid rid of those pencil lines. And then you can use colored pencils to add color to it if you want to make it match the original. Or if you want to make your cupcake a different color, you can do that as well. However you would like to color it. Look at that, pretty cute. Great job, guys.